All right, math modeling. Today we are talking about combining like terms. We are working on things, skills that are going to help us solve multi-step equations. So we're going to be using all these things to solve more complicated equations than just the two steps we did the other day. Um, some content vocabulary, a term. So down here is an example of a term, 3x. Typically, the ones we will be dealing with, it's a product of a number and a variable. It can be a quotient. There's other things. But when we're talking about terms, we usually see it as multiplication. When you move on, they'll get more complicated. But for us, it's going to be just this here. Like terms have identical variable parts. So we already defined the variable. It's the letter, the symbol part of it. And then the coefficient is the number that is attached to it. All right. So like terms have identical variable parts. So x's are so 3x and 4x would be identical. But if it's different variables like an x and a y, so maybe I should just write out some examples. So examples of like terms. So 3x, 5x, negative 2x, because they all have x. Or if you have a different, so let's make it more complicated. Let's say we had 3xy and 2xy. They have different variables, so it's an xy, but the variable part is the same, xy, xy. They can have more than one variable as long as they're the same. They can even have exponents, so like 4x squared and uh, 2x squared would be like terms because it's x squared. Not like terms. So on the other side of that, if we had a 2x and a 3y, that doesn't work. If it's a 5x and just a 7, that doesn't work. All right. 5x squared y and 3xy squared. Looks like it could be the same, but it is not because the x is squared and the y here is squared. So they're not the same. So it has to be identical. All right. So we are doing simple. It's just going to be one variable. All right. So that's all you got to think about. One variable or a very, here, I forgot an obvious one, like 1 and 7. If there's no variables, they're like terms. So combine like terms, all you do is add the coefficients, add the numbers together. So here, 12K plus 4K, 12 plus 4 is 16. So that is 16K. You just think about it. We have 12Ks and 4Ks, so we have 16Ks total. Careful with this. This one, we have some invisible math. V here, so we have 8, negative 8V plus V. Some invisible math here. There is a 1 in front of it. So if the variable doesn't have a coefficient non-number, there's an invisible 1 there. So this is negative 8V plus 1V. So negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7V. Here, negative 6m minus 11m. So just be careful with your negatives. So negative 6 minus 11, that is negative 17m, right? We'll get more complicated where we have more than one like term. What we need to be careful with here is paying attention to which term the negative belongs to. So we have two sets of like terms. I will show them here. I will circle them in different colors. So we have uh, 10 plus 8. That's easy. That's going to be an 18. Here's what you need to understand is that negative belongs to the 12. So this is a negative 12. All right. Plus, so negative 12x plus, that's 1x. Remember, so negative 12 plus 1 is negative 11. So that negative sign belongs to the 12x. So it's whatever it is a part of. It's not 10 minus 8. The 10 is positive, the 8 is positive. We combine, we get 18. It's the 12 that is negative. All right. So here, this one, again, be careful. The 1 is positive. It's the 5 that is negative. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. And then these other ones, positive 8x plus negative 8, 11x, that is a positive 19x. So just pay attention to where the negative is. This one here, a couple of different negatives. So we have a positive 1. This negative here belongs to the 3. So negative 1 minus 3 is negative 2. That negative with the 11, that stays with that one. So that is negative 11v. So negative 2 minus 11v. Here, we're going to distribute. Next thing, when we distribute, hopefully remember this from IM1 in earlier math classes, you multiply the number on the outside times both terms inside the parentheses. So this is going to be 5 times A. I'll write out the whole thing, plus 5 times 10. You are multiplying. So 5 times A is 5A, plus 5 times 10 is 50. Boom. So 5A plus 50. So let's see another one of those. So negative 3. Be careful when you are distributing this because you have to distribute. This is a negative 3 we are distributing. So negative 3 times 1. Then it's going to be plus negative 3 times 4x. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 times 4x, negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. X, and since it's you bring down the plus, since this is a negative 12, we can just have this as negative 3 minus 12x. All right. A lot of these steps you can just do in your head. Go straight down through. Just make sure you're keeping track of the negative. Let me highlight that a little bit. This plus and minus is the same thing as just negative. So it's negative 3 minus 12x. This one here, again, we have some invisible math here. When we're distributing, there's like a 1 in front of that negative. So when we multiply, it's multiplying by negative 1. So this is going to be negative 1 times x minus negative 1 times 6. Um, Negative 1, actually, negative 1 times x is negative 1x, or just negative x is fine. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6, but we have the double negatives, so it's going to make it positive 6. All right. Maybe a simpler way to think about this one, let me redo it on the side. Maybe an easier way to think about this one when we are distributing negative 1 times x, and then we are multiplying. Treat this as a negative 6 when we multiply. So negative 1 times negative 6. So it's going to be negative 1 times negative 6. So negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 6 is positive 6. So we're going to do plus 6. So either way to think about it. Here we are going to distribute and then combine like terms. So there's going to be a couple steps to this. So distribute the 7. So 7 times x is 7x. 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. I'm not going to write out the whole step since it's all in here, but just make sure you're multiplying through there. Then we have negative 3x plus 7. We have one set of like terms. So negative 3 plus 7x, that's going to be a positive 4x minus 28. The 28 doesn't combine with anything. So positive 4x minus 28. This one here, be careful with this one. Again, you need to treat this negative as, or the minus. It isn't, oh, come on. Highlighter, yellow. There we go. This is a negative 5. When we distribute it, we are going to distribute a negative 5. So negative 5 times r is negative 5r. Negative 5 times positive 3 is negative 15, so it's minus 15. Bring down the minus 9. Now, when I combine like terms, maybe this looks better highlighted than circling. I have a negative r combined with a negative 15. When I combine those together, negative 9 divided by negative or minus negative 15 is negative 24. And then I can bring down the minus 5r. All right. I guess we'll do one more. Good. All right. So here, distribute the 9. 9 times 5b. 9 times 5 is 45. Don't forget the b. And then 9 times 3 is 27. So plus 27. Bring down the minus 8b. I have two sets of like terms, or just one set of like terms, 45b. And remember, this is a minus 8b. So 45 minus 8, that comes out to uh, 37b. And then bring down the plus 27 because that doesn't have a like term to combine with. All right, and that'll do it for us. Tomorrow we're gonna put this information to use solving multi-step equations. We'll see you then.